say a lawyer or a law firm or somebody who wants to engage in a PR strategy has their idea. The next step is obviously to approach a reporter or a journalist with this idea.
Yeah.
So when doing that, when reaching out to the media or a reporter or editor, whoever it may be, what are some of the biggest do's and don'ts? How do you reach out to the media?
So the number one pet peeve I hear journalists say is that the person did not research whether they cover the kinds of stories that they just got pitched. Whether it's their beat, whether they've already covered it. So, that's where Google's your friend. Go on the media outlet's website, see what they're covering. They typically list beats, on the media contact info page. So figure out if you're pitching the right person and do they cover these kind of stories. Then it's a very brief email. I'll put sometimes in caps, story idea, get it. Cause they get hundreds of emails every day. So, be very brief and, don't bury the lead. And that's the other big sin I see lawyers do with a lot of their writing is, the lead is way far, it's too much. So you're trying not to make a journalist do extra work to figure out what story you're pitching. So when I'm talking to clients, I'll often say, what would be that ideal headline for you? And so we start there, if it's kind of never going to happen, like law firm managing partner is the best looking man ever, whatever. But I ask them to think through, yeah, exactly. What's that ideal headline? And if you start at that headline, then you can kind of, then what that story is that you're looking for, and you can pitch it to the journalist. So you're trying to say, hey, Mr. Journalist, I've researched you. I see that you cover these kind of stories, and I think this one is going to be interesting because the reporter has a audience audience's needs to meet. So you've got to speak to them about why their audience would find this interesting. So I know that you cover this kind of story. These are your readers, and this is what I think would be interesting. And then just a couple of bullet points that outline the story, and then the credibility. Why should you be the one? Why are you credible enough to either write this article or be interviewed or whatever it is? So those are kind of the elements that we're putting together when we write a pitch. But usually it's a paragraph, and then you're outlining what the story would be. If it's a visual story, meaning it's going to be really highly visual, and you're pitching a broadcast station, explain that. Say, hey, I could get you some good shots of this, or if you've got access to, for example, if a client would be willing to come on camera or be interviewed, I've talked to my client. I have permission. We pitched a story for a New Orleans law firm when New Orleans introduced a new law allowing sexual assault victims to bring the window. The time frame was lengthened so that the statute of limitations had not run out for many cases. So this law firm wanted to publicize the fact that it had a lot of experience with these. It was specific to the Catholic diocese, sexual assault claims. And so we went to the media with a victim, a sexual assault survivor, and said, here's her story. Here's what she can talk about. We've briefed her. She's ready to talk. So that helps a lot. If you can you're kind of doing all the legwork for the media, and you're thinking through those aspects, because that's the other pet peeve journalists hate is they get pitched a story, and then once the client starts to dig into it, they realize, oh, the client won't talk. Client doesn't want to talk. So-and-so doesn't want to speak on this. So you've just wasted everybody's time.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do that legwork in the beginning.